Hey everybody, my name is Ariel. I'm a nurse and a certified American Heart Association first aid and CPR trainer, and I'm going to show you what I keep in my emergency first aid kits in my car, especially if you live in a place that has winter weather like I do. Okay, so the first thing is I actually use pencil cases. They're cheap. They're hardier than just throwing everything in like a Ziploc baggie. They're less likely to get crushed. And I just check my supplies every year when it starts getting cold out, because that's when you want to be replacing your things, is about every year or so, just to make sure. So I'm going to take everything out so I can show you guys what I have in here. Now, when you're packing this, I recommend, sorting everything out and then putting things in order that you're probably going to need them. Like, you're probably not going to need baking soda more than you're going to need Band-Aids. So I'll explain what that's for. Now, if you take a first aid class, which I highly recommend everybody does, if you do a first aid class, you'll know what all these supplies are for. But if you don't, I'll just give you a really quick rundown. So first thing, storm-proof matches. Again, God forbid you get stuck somewhere in your car and there's a snowstorm. Okay, emergency blanket. Again, super handy for a lot of situations you'll learn about in first aid. The next thing that I put in there is my baking soda. Okay, obviously you can put this in a little jar container. I put it in a baggie and just clearly label that it's baking soda. This is for marine stings. Again, you'd learn about this in a first aid class, but you can actually use baking soda to help if you are stung by a jellyfish. So I like to keep that in the car bag as well. Okay, the next thing I put in there is a miniature headlamp. These are like $1 and their batteries probably don't last that long, but again, replace them every year. Let your kids play with them after you've used them for a year or something. But I really like these because in an emergency and it's dark outside or it's getting dark, having a headlamp is a lot easier if you have to like change a tire or something like that than having a flashlight. So I keep that in there. And then the other thing I keep in there are a bunch of these. I like the blister pack medications that you can get from the pharmacy or from the dollar store, and breaking them up into little sections that you can keep like a couple in here. So I have a couple Dayquils. Again, this isn't just for emergencies. This is like every day. Like if you have a cold and you forget to go with a Dayquil or something. There's an anti-diarrheal. There's a Pepto-Bismol. And then I have chewable children's Tylenol because I have a child. Okay, so just like a couple of the blister packs of backup medication. The other thing that I keep in here is these didn't come in blister packs, and I really like Aleve. That's like my go-to if I have really bad headache or something. So that's why mine's in there. But the other thing in here is aspirin. And again, could save your life or someone else's life if they're having chest pain with no signs of a stroke and they're not allergic to aspirin. If they chew an aspirin at the first signs of a heart attack or chest pain, whatever, it could save their lives. Okay, so I always carry aspirin with me. And then the next thing, obviously, ice pack. Again, stuff you'll learn about in first aid class. Again, in first aid class, we teach people how to help people with wounds with gauze and rolled bandages. This is what you'd learn about. You can use this for so many things. You could make an emergency tourniquet with this. You can attach the gauze with this, and there's no adhesive needed. So rolled bandages and gauze pads, I really like these kind because they have an antibacterial layer in them, so you don't have to like add any antibacterial stuff to it. Like if you clean it and put, the goop on it, which, we don't recommend cleaning wounds and putting stuff on it in a first aid class. So we just do gauze pads and rolled bandages. So I like this because it's like that extra little bit. So I put these in here. And then my last one, obviously, is bandages. And if you have little kids, you can make them fun. These are like Paw Patrol bandages. So I just like to put them in a separate baggie so they don't get lost in the stuff. And then I just kind of push everything together. And this all fits inside of one pencil case. And I just go through it every year when it starts getting cold out, and I check everything and I replace everything. Because obviously this is no good if things are expired. This is no good if the batteries aren't working anymore. And believe it or not, baking soda does expire. So you do want to be refreshing that if you're going to be in a place where there might be jellyfish or whatever. So that's my pencil case first aid kit. The other thing I keep in my car is a jar of unopened honey. Why do I do this? Because God forbid you're in an emergency situation and you're stuck somewhere for a night or whatever, or you need emergency calories for something. Honey is good because honey is the only food that never expires and never goes bad. So if you throw this somewhere in your car and you know you have it in there, God forbid you're in a situation where you need emergency calories. There's a lot of calories in honey. So this is a good way to do it. And also it's good for like diabetic emergencies if you're dealing with something like that. So obviously no honey for babies under a year old, but otherwise it's pretty allergy friendly and it's completely sealed up, but I also put it in a baggie because like you never know. So that's what I keep in my car. Just these little things, and they have come in so handy. I also keep like a backup kit of all kinds of kids stuff too, but that's separate. This is just for first aid stuff. So I hope that helps some of you guys figure out what to pack in your car for a first aid kit in the wintertime. I mean, all around, but mostly in the wintertime. Have a good night.